All right, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into the story of Giuseppe Mazzini.
A fascinating figure.
Definitely. He's this key figure in Italian unification, and we've got this document, How a Love Letter Revitalized Revolution,
Yeah,
which kind of hints at this really interesting connection between his personal life and his political struggles.
absolutely.
So our kind of mission today is to try and understand what kept Mazzini going, what fueled his revolutionary spirit, especially when things were really tough.
Right, especially during those periods of setbacks and exile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how this woman Giuditta Sidoli and her support played a crucial role. So where should we even begin with this?
Well, I think we got to start with Mazzini himself. I
Yeah.
mean, this guy was really the driving force behind Italian unification in the 19th century.
Okay.
He was completely and totally dedicated to creating an Italian republic. As the document points out, he founded Young Italy in 1832.
Ah, young Italy.
Yeah, and all of his ideas really centered on these concepts of duty, sacrifice, and this unwavering belief in progress,
Right.
and the power of popular movements to create a unified and independent Italy.
Okay, so he's all about the Risorgimento.
Exactly, the Risorgimento, that movement for Italian unification that was sweeping through Italy at the time.
Okay, so we've got this guy Mazzini who's super passionate about this cause.
Absolutely.
But then you've also got Giuditta Sidoli, right? And the document highlights her as not just his lover, but like a huge source of support, especially during his exile in Marseille. It sounds like she wasn't just, company for him, but she was like this source of emotional strength.
Right, right. I mean, think about it. Exile is isolating, it's lonely.
Yeah,
To have someone there providing that companionship, that encouragement,
right.
that must have been, I mean, who knows what he would have done without her.
Yeah, yeah. What kind of encouragement do you think she was even offering during these tough times?
Well, if we consider Mazzini's character, his dedication to his cause, it seems likely that Sidoli's support really served as a powerful reminder of his fundamental duties, of why he was making these sacrifices for the Italian people.
Right.
She was that anchor,
Right.
reinforcing his belief in the eventual progress towards a unified Italy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You need someone like that when things are tough.
for sure.
Okay. So that brings us to this really interesting part of the document. It talks about how Mazzini went through this period of just like huge discouragement,
Oh, yeah, he faced a lot of setbacks.
repeated failed uprisings, like the support for his movement was just dwindling.
Right.
And you can just imagine how defeated he must have felt. So, I mean, facing all that failure, what even kept him going? Like, why didn't he just give up?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the document kind of suggests that there was this turning point.
Oh.
A letter from Giuditta Sidoli. Now, we don't know exactly what she wrote,
Mm.
but the implication is that her personal support, that connection, was what reignited his passion, his revolutionary fire.
Oh, so it wasn't like a brilliant new political strategy or something.
Right, it wasn't about tactics, it was deeper than that.
Hmm.
More like a deep emotional bolstering, something that reminded him of his core convictions.
Okay. So it was like this personal connection that tapped back into those fundamental beliefs like duty, sacrifice, that faith in progress. It's fascinating how this, personal encouragement could translate into like actual action.
Yeah, and the document really highlights this, right?
Yeah, yeah. It notes how he continued with Young Italy and then later on with Young Europe, even though there were still setbacks. So how did that renewed determination like actually play out? What did it look like?
Well, it probably gave him that emotional fortitude to keep organizing, writing, and inspiring others.
Okay.
I mean, let's be real. It takes an immense amount of inner strength to face failure over and over and still keep going.
For sure. For sure.
Sidoli's support seems to have provided that essential fuel, allowing him to rally himself and others to persevere with these movements,
Yeah.
which were ultimately aimed at unifying Europe based on national identities.
Right, right. And so that perseverance, even though there were all these immediate disappointments, it ultimately contributed to the unification of Italy.
Exactly, during the Risorgimento.
Yeah, and it even went on to inspire other revolutionary movements. Like the document even mentions Giuseppe Garibaldi.
Another hugely important figure.
Yeah, so even in those moments of like complete despair, this personal connection helped to sustain a vision that like really shaped history.
I think that's a really powerful point. If we
Yeah.
try to connect this to the bigger picture for you, the listener, this deep dive shows how even massive political movements are, at their heart, fundamentally human.
Yeah.
Mazzini had this intellectual drive, sure,
Uh-huh.
But that emotional support he received, that was a crucial part of his resilience and ultimately his impact.
Right. So what does this all mean for you? Well, Mazzini's story, it reminds us that even the strongest convictions, they can waver.
It's natural.
But they can also be reignited by these unexpected personal connections. So consider this. How might the personal relationships of other huge figures in history have shaped their actions and their legacies in ways that we don't always see or think about? What kind of unseen emotional work might be behind some of the biggest changes in history?
It's something to ponder, isn't it?
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, see you next time.